John, this is your first video lesson. We talked about this. We can clean up the stance a little bit better. See how Adam is a little more bent over the ball, and at our age, we really can't fix this curve, but we can make the lower back straighter. We can give some exercises to work on it, but so many years on a computer, we're always going to have a little bit of a hunch there. But and the next thing also was the grip. I talked to you offline about that, and you just want both V's pointed at your right ear. You have one V, a really strong grip. The other V indicates a really weak grip. You just need the V's consistent, and we'll give you some pictures to help that. Okay, so your takeaway is pretty good. It's in the right spot. But if you look here, John, this is one of the reasons you're steep. See the club face? It's actually pointed down. And look at Adam Scott's. He's got what I call a toe-up position. See how the toe up? Mm-hmm. And it's facing this way. So that's where it should be. You get it there, but the face is down. Now what happens is that promotes a steepness in the backswing. Basically, you don't really care about it, but it's saying that there's no forearm rotation. Maybe too much technical information at this time, but if you just think toe up, that'll give you the proper forearm rotation. Okay, so you bring it up here. This looks good. You're all in plane, and then it starts getting a little steep on you. Here. And see how your hands are kind of close to your head? Yeah. And see how Scott's aren't? He's got maximum width. As he gets in here, see how his hands are as far from his head as can be? You got kind of in here, okay? And this top position, okay, this is what starts the whole thing. See how your elbow is pointing this direction? See how his is straight up and down? And then they have a proverbial server's tray position where this right wrist is bent back on itself. Yours isn't. So that's why this is too steep. You got the elbow, which is kind of flying, should be pointed down. You haven't really bent that thing back in the server's tray position. Now here's the toxin. You start down. First move down is the club, and way too steep. Right? We got. If you weren't going to do anything else, any adjustments, you'd stick a fork in behind the ball. It should, at this point, the butt of the club should be pointed at the ball. And then you're trying to save this, and you flip it. You're trying to flip it on plane. And see, it's outside your hands at this point. It should be just like in the backswing. Should be right there.
Actually start moving until the club's all the way halfway down.
Exactly. Your lower body hasn't started moving. You're doing this all upper body, so it's an upper body heave. So you got a little. It's too steep, but you got a little sequencing problem too. Watch. If you start it with your lower body, watch him. See the first move down. See these knees action. These actions. Now as that action happens, look what happens. Shallows out the club. So trust me, you're steeper than he is, but if you start with the lower body, look, it shallows it out. Yeah. So even if you have a steep problem, you can kind of save it with starting your lower body. So you got two issues. Mm-hmm. Too steep, and the lower body doesn't start early enough. So that makes it a pretty severe problem. We'll work on both because, to be honest, better sequencing will shallow it out. Okay, so as you come down, you try to save it. Good athlete, and to save it, because it's too steep, you're going to hit right behind the ball. You try to save it by lift. So you lose your spine angle. Come out of the spine angle, lift and flip. And like I said during the lesson, that's why we top it. If we lift too much, if we don't lift enough, hit it fat. So we got both those shots, but I can guarantee that they're going to start left and curve right. Okay. Like I said during the lesson too. This is good lower body action, actually very good. It's just late. It's like 5 frames late. Yeah, yeah. So you have the flexibility and the strength and the it's just a little late. See his lower body, boom. So at impact, this is nirvana. One cheek, two cheeks. That means he's cleared out here, and see how his lower body's cleared out, but his shoulders haven't. Magical. So he's got this big torque. That's why he can hit 300 yards, because he's got this torque. If he's doing all upper body, he doesn't have that torque. He's wound up like a rubber band. Now, just quickly on the other side, as we look face on, we got on the backswing, we've got, that's the top of your backswing, and your shoulder really hasn't got behind the ball. So this also promotes a lift and flip, because if you turned and got through, it would hit George's house every time.
And no power.
Yeah, right, exactly, yeah. Well, you have power because you're strong and you have a big arc, but you have no, there's no torque. You haven't built up any. Okay, so from here, you just flash with your upper body. See this flash? And the club passes your hands because your hip's in the way and your body is kind of stopped. But like I say, this is a great move with the right knee going towards the target. It's like 5 frames late. So all we do is we speed that up and we fix it. So that's the lesson. And what I'll do is, on this, I'll just let this run. So you can get it on your computer and just go through this. And I'll also give you a separate one. See how he's all in plane? See how he starts the lower body first? Yeah. Okay. And then we'll give you, on the same CD, we'll give you this direction. We're not too worried about this direction now, other than timing and backswing. But I'll let this run. This is slow motion, obviously. So the more times you look at this, it's like osmosis. It just kind of gets into it. Now I'll play it at real speed. See, it looks like a blur, but it's sequenced.